guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a yoga class that is a gentle flow. So really working into some strength, some stretching, and just feeling overall really amazing in your body. So we're going to start today's class coming into a reclined lying down position. Of course, if you want to stay seated, feel free to stay seated. So just coming down onto your mat, letting your back fall gently onto the space on the ground, allowing your hands to fall at your sides, palms face towards the sky, letting the legs either relax down or you can keep a bend into those knees and knock them together if the low back is feeling any pressure. Just allowing yourself to get comfortable. Starting to tap into our breath. Starting to notice the breath. Seeing if it's fast or slow. And just letting go of any judgment or expectation of what that breath might look like. Closing the eyes if that feels safe and comfortable. And finding an inhale into the nose and an exhale out the mouth. Let that breath out. Finding another inhale, filling up all the way into the belly. And exhale, dump that breath out. Finding one more of those. Let's inhale, filling up all that air deep into the belly. And exhale out the mouth. Let that breath go. Finding a few rounds of our 3-part breath. So we're going to inhale into the belly, feeling the ribs lift, chest rise. And as we exhale, chest falls, ribs fall, belly. Inhaling again deep into that belly, all the way down to the bottom of your belly. Feeling the ribs lift, chest. And as you exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Finding some flowing rounds of that breath. It's just allowing the belly to fill, ribs, chest, and exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Just letting that breath move and flow. Starting to tune into ourselves here on the mat. And finding 2 more breaths, 2 more rounds. Not rushing, not forcing, just working through that 3-part breath. On your last exhale, starting to bend up through the knees. Let's hug those knees in towards the chest, wrapping those arms around the shins or underneath the thighs. And just hug yourself in here. Give yourself a nice rock on the low back, right to left. Squeezing those legs towards you. Just getting a nice massage here. Let's exhale, release the feet back down to the mat. We're going to lift up the hips, shimmy them over towards the right side of your mat. Bending up through the legs and allowing them to fall over towards your left side, towards the left side of the mat. Let's inhale, open up those arms into a T. So your palms can face towards the sky. Gaze can stay neutral here, looking up towards the ceiling, or you can option to gaze over that right shoulder. So turning, looking over that right. So just finding a gentle twist here into our spine, just warming things up. Just Just allowing that gentle rotation. On your next inhale, engaging through the belly and the core as we start to lift those legs back up to center. Release the feet down, shimmy the hips back to center, and we'll lift them again. Shimmy over to the left side. Lift those knees up and we'll roll the knees towards the right side of the mat. Finding our twist on the other side. Option to gaze up or over that left pec. Looking down that arm towards those fingertips. Pressing the fingertips in towards the mat. If your shoulders are lifting, that's okay. Just thinking about softening them towards the floor. Just allowing everything to go here. Letting go of the face, any tension. And on your next inhale, engage that belly, allowing the belly to lift those legs, squeezing them up. Shimmy the hips back to center, and we'll hug in those legs one more time. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Just allow yourself to rock on that spine, right to left. Coming back to center, we're going to start to rock and roll towards the top of the mat. So rock and roll in that spine, as long as you're feeling okay in your back, there's no issues, no herniated discs. Feel free to rock. If there is, just rolling to one side and sitting up. So finding a few rocks here just to release the spine, maybe find some cracks and some pops. Hitting the spine and finding your way up to seated position. So keeping the soles of the feet onto the mat, we're going to keep our knees bent here. Sitting nice and tall, holding onto the back side of the thighs, avoiding hugging onto our knees here, so just reaching for those thighs. You're going to sit nice and tall. Inhale, reaching through the crown of the head. So almost like someone's drawing you up towards the ceiling. I want you to think about finding some expansion through that spine, rooting the feet into the mat. Allowing the shoulder blades to come down the back. We're going to find some rounds of cat-cow here into our seated position. So as we inhale, we're pulling on those legs, drawing our chest and our heart forward, collarbones widen. And as we exhale, starting to round through the spine, so rounding back into your cow, allowing the chin to fall towards the chest, tucking that neck. And inhale, rounding back up, shining that chest forward, hugging belly towards the legs. And as we exhale, round back through. Just releasing the spine, moving nice and slow with each vertebrae here. You can even close the eyes to really connect with that spine, noticing how it's feeling, how your back is. Finding a few more rounds, just warming up our spine. Two more, nice and slow, feeling that spine, letting the breath flow. And come back to center when you're ready. So from here, we're gonna still hold the back side of the thighs, really drawing our chest and our heart forward. It's almost like you're trying to imagine jumping into a wetsuit, like someone's zipping you up, like you're going whoop. So you're trying to draw your boobies towards your thighs. So finding a nice lift here. We're really strong in through the side body, in through the core. So we're not dumping and hanging out in our low back. We're really thinking about sucking and drawing everything in. So starting to tip onto our hips here. So just walking the feet just slightly back, finding a little bit of balance, working through our boat posture. So you might start to hover the toes off the mat, keeping that chest nice and lifted. So this might be enough for you. It might even be enough for you with the soles of the feet on the mat. So options start to tippy tap those toes, maybe starting to lift one leg, maybe lift the other leg, maybe lifting both. Or maybe you're just hovering, finding whatever variation works for you, as long as you're keeping that chest nice and lifted, nice and tall, breathing through every breath. Wherever you are is where you need to be. Let's exhale, release those feet onto the mat, hug ourselves forward, hugging those Knees in, let the nose fall towards the knees. Big juicy hug in. Awesome. We'll start to release those legs out long in front and we'll kick them around behind us, finding our way onto our knees. So sitting onto our knees. I'm just gonna turn so you guys can see me. So if you can't sit stacked onto your heels, then that's okay. You can always option to sit cross-legged. It's your choice entirely, but if you can stay here onto your feet, we're gonna work through a little bit of feet activation. So sitting onto our feet for a moment here, resting the hands onto the thighs. We're gonna rock ourselves forward into a tabletop position. We're gonna curl through the back toes, bringing the feet together. So big toes to touch, making sure we can tuck under all those toes. So let's show you guys a visual here. So tucking those toes and starting to sit our seat back onto those heels. So coming through some toe love here, working into the underside of the fascia in the feet. So this might be enough for you, just starting to sit back. Might be quite intense if you're a runner or if you are on your feet a lot. So just allowing yourself to sit back. You can start to walk yourself so you're stacked on top of your pelvis. Your choice, just variations. Being mindful of your body and how you're feeling today. Let's roll those shoulders back. Release them down the back body. Just allowing the eyes to close here, getting a big stretch into the feet. And let's exhale, come up forward off those feet. Give them a tippy tap, shake them out, release those feet. Awesome. From here, curling those toes under, pressing our bum high towards the sky, coming through our downward facing dog. Walk that dog right to left, release those legs. Letting everything go. Shake out that head, yes, shake it, no. Thinking about sinking our heart towards those thighs. So maybe bending through the legs, melting that belly on towards those thighs, sinking our heart towards the legs. Gaze comes between our legs. Drawing the shoulder blades down the back. As we exhale, stepping our feet up 1 foot at a time, coming into our forward fold. Bending nice and deep through the legs here, allowing the spine to fall long towards the mat, crown of the head falls forward. Dangle those hands towards the mat. Let's inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back, hands onto shins or thighs. Drawing those shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees. Inhale, let's sweep up high towards the sky, reaching up. Exhale through your heart center. Let's release those hands facing forward, hands at your sides. Toes are pointing forward, rooting into our mountain pose. So really rooting the feet into the mat here, grounding the 4 corners of the feet, nice and strong. Imagine that you're lifting up from the feet, kneecaps lift, engaging through those thighs, really feeling them lift up away from the floor. Heart shines forward, closing the eyes, rooting in. Let's inhale, sweep up high towards the sky, reaching up. Palms together, baby back bend. And as we exhale, let's dive the hands through heart, coming through forward folds, releasing the head, shaking it out, dangle the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Let's exhale, frame the hands around the feet, stepping our left foot back and then our right foot back. Coming into our downward dog. Releasing, getting a nice big stretch here. I need one more breath. Melt that heart towards the mat. On your exhale, we're gonna rock forward into plank, nice and strong, spreading through the hands, nice and wide here. Option to drop to half plank if you need to. hovering and holding wherever you are. Coming back to that full plank. If you drop the knees down, we're not going to come through a chaturanga yet. Coming back to that plank. Take an inhale and exhale. Inhale, nice and strong. Let's exhale, press our bum back up, downward dog. Inhale, rock forward plank. Exhale, engage the belly, push back up, down dog. Inhale, rock back into that plank, nice and strong through the shoulders, drawing them down the back. Let's exhale, back to down dog. Inhale, rock forward, dropping those knees if you need, working through our first chaturanga. Inhale, rock that chest forward towards the top of the mat, holding, breathing. Exhale, 90 degrees, dropping the hips, then lift the chest. Inhale, baby cobra. And exhale, release the forehead down, pressing through the hands back through our tabletop. Give those hips a wiggle, give them a shake. And exhale, find yourself back in downward facing dog. Catch your breath. Letting it go. Let's inhale, kick up that right leg high towards the sky, engaging through the glute, lifting that leg nice and high. Starting to open up, coming into our three-legged dog. So you're trying to kick that right leg towards the left side of the mat, opening up through that hip, but keeping our heart spinning towards the mat. So rotating that heart and belly towards the mat, just opening up through that hip. Let's exhale, set that foot between the hands. We'll drop our back knee down towards the mat. Working into our low lunge. Front hands frame that front foot. Finding your positioning here, nice and strong. We'll inhale, sweep up, reaching the arms high towards the sky. Exhale through heart center. So pressing the hands together at heart. Noticing that front knee is stacking right over that ankle. Engaging through the belly. Pressing into the hands, nice and strong through our core. Can you sink those hips a little further? So every inhale, thinking about lifting and growing through the crown of the head. Every exhale, you're sinking and melting those hips towards the mat. So really being active in our lunge here. So we're not just hanging out in our hip and just like sinking and sagging. I really want you to think about the lifting, drawing that midline all the way up to the sky. And on your exhale, sinking into stretching out that hip. So nice and strong. So we're active, but we're stretching at the same time. So it's really important in yoga. Finding one more breath. Let's sweep those hands back up, reaching up towards the sky. Exhale, frame that front foot. Let's lift up on the back leg, coming into a high lunge variation. And we'll inhale, sweep up, reaching up, coming into our high lunge. Exhale the hands through heart center, pressing into the palms here. Nice and strong. Sinking those hips towards the mat, but keeping that core engaged really, really strong here, you guys. You're doing great. Finding one more breath. On our next inhale, so you're going to step that back foot towards the front of the mat, coming up to standing, hovering that leg, so hovering your left leg. Let's lift that knee up to a 90-degree, flexing through the foot, nice and strong here. Strong, strong, strong. We'll release the hands onto the hips, still hovering that leg, bringing our left hand onto the inside of that knee on the left leg. I'm just going to turn so you guys can see me. Keeping that flexion through the bottom toes as we start to inhale and open up that hip. So holding onto the inside of the leg, really strong through the glutes here. Bringing it back to center, switching hands. We'll start to cross across the body. So if you start to lose your balance, you need to tap out. Feel free to do so. Whew. And we'll cross the body, coming through that twist. Option to look over towards the left side of the mat. You can sweep that left arm open, gazing over those fingers, coming into a deeper twist. Come back to center, hold that leg, and let's exhale, release it down. Whew. Right foot's burning. Awesome. Inhale, sweep up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweeping up again. Hands together, baby back bend. As we exhale, forward fold dive. Coming down to the mat, release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Frame the hands around the feet. We'll set the right foot back, then the left foot back. Coming into our down dog just for a second. Stretching out the back of the legs. Let's inhale, rock forward plank. Exhale, come back through down dog. Inhale, rocking back into our plank. Exhale, down dog. Let's inhale, forward again, plank, hovering, holding, breathing here. Release those knees if you need to. Working through our chaturanga. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, 90 degrees, drop the hips, then the belly. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra or upward facing dog, your choice. And we'll exhale back, tabletop or to downward facing dog. Even taking a child's pose if you need. Taking 3 big breaths in our down dog or our child's pose. Let that breath go. Breathe it out. Coming back through our down dog, finding our way there if you're not already there. We'll inhale, lift up that left leg, reaching it up towards the sky, engaging through the glute. Nice and strong here. Starting to open up that hip into our 3-legged dog. So we're trying to kick behind us towards the right side of the mat. Keeping that heart and chest spinning towards the mat. Gaze comes towards the mat. So we're keeping everything turning downwards, opening through that hip. Let's inhale, step our foot between the hands, dropping that back knee down, coming into our low lunge variation, rooting the hands either side of the foot. And let's inhale, sweep those arms up high towards the sky. Exhale through heart center. Pressing the hands together, nice and strong. Engaging through the belly. Finding that string to lift and grow the spine nice and tall towards the sky. And as we exhale, sinking those hips towards the mat. Nice and strong, everything's lifting up for the midline. And exhale, sinking through those hips. Let's inhale, sweep those hands high to the sky. Exhale, release, frame that front foot, curl the back toes under, coming up into that high lunge variation. Let's inhale, sweep those arms, reaching up. Exhale, heart center. Sinking through the hips, pressing into the hands, finding that engagement through the belly, nice and strong here. One more breath. And on your next inhale, starting to hop yourself forward, finding that balance, rooting through the left, lifting up through the right, coming to that 90 degrees. Nice and strong. Releasing the right hand onto the inside of the leg, opening that leg up, flexing through the toes here. Finding some balance, finding some strength. Bringing it back to center, switching hands, drawing that leg across the body. You can keep the gaze forward, or you can open up that right arm, looking over the right hand. Twisting a little further, challenging that balance. If you have to tap out, it's okay. And exhale, come back to center, holding that leg for another second. Exhale, release. Give those hips a shake out. We'll inhale, sweep the arms up high to the sky. Exhale through heart center. Inhale, sweeping up again high to the sky. Baby back bend. And exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Frame the feet. Let's step the left foot, then the right foot back. Coming into our downward facing dog. Let's exhale, release the knees down to the mat. Keeping the knees together, sitting our bum back onto our feet. You can reach those hands forward and let the forehead fall to the mat, or you can option to release the arms down the sides of the body. Tucking into a little ball, releasing into our child's pose. So allowing that head to connect to something. Letting the forehead come down to the mat, catching your breath. Breathing into that space. Once you've found your last breath, starting to walk yourself back up. Sitting onto the legs. We'll rock ourselves forward. Coming back to a tabletop. We're going to step that right foot to the outside edge of the right hand, working into our dragon pose. So if you have any props or blocks that you might need here to support you, feel free to have a block in front of you. So working into our lizard. So right foot is on the outside edge of the hands, walking that foot out. And just pressing into the hands here, or into your block, maybe having that block support you. Making sure that our knee is stacked over our ankle, protecting those joints. So this might be enough for you, allowing the right knee to start to open away from the body. Option to not use a block. Next option would be to come down to forearms, releasing down. So again, just being really mindful of where you're at in this pose. Getting a really big stretch into our left hip here. Maybe you can come down to forearms. Maybe that seems completely impossible, and that's okay. So we're going to our own degree. It's not about getting in a pose. It's about breathing where you are and accepting where you are. Getting a nice big stretch into our right glute. Feels so good after all of those lunges, all that hip work. Taking one more breath. Let's exhale as we start to walk ourselves back up to our hands if you're on forearms. And start to press that right foot back, coming back to your tabletop. Find a wiggle out, shake out those hips. And from here, we'll step through to the left side, bringing that left foot to the outside edge of your hands, walking it out. Either pressing into the hands or pressing into a block, or whatever you need to support you. And just noticing how different this side might feel compared to the other side. Is it tighter? Is it more open? Starting to walk yourself down further onto the mat maybe, or maybe you're staying where you are. Just being aware of what's going on in the body, listening to what it needs. Breathing into wherever your tightness is, letting the breath start to release that tension. Breathing. Taking one more breath here. And starting to walk yourself back up off your forearms onto your hands. And let's exhale as we start to step our left foot back. Come back to that tabletop. Give those hips a wiggle out. Shake them out. Awesome. And we'll find our way onto our bum, coming into a seated position. Stretch out those feet in front of you. We're gonna bring the soles of the feet together, coming into our bound angle pose. So walking those feet closer towards the body, coming into a nice little diamond shape here. The knees can be quite high if you're quite tight through the IT band or the hips. So holding on to the ankles or the feet, sitting nice and tall, inhaling through the crown, growing that spine. And as we exhale, starting to tip our heart towards those feet. So nice straight back here. We're not rounding through the spine. We're keeping everything nice and tall and lifted, getting a really big stretch into our low back, in through the groin, the hips. Just allowing yourself to get a nice stretch here, keeping our chest shining forward. So if you're not sure if you're rounding, you can always look down at your chest and noticing if your shoulders are pushing forward and coming more forward. It will help you know if you're rounding through. One more breath. And let's exhale, start to press ourselves back up. And just rounding out through the spine. So holding onto those thighs, or holding onto those shins. And starting to just hollow out the belly, round through the back of the spine, sink the belly in, pull those shoulders forward, just hang off those legs, just really finding a nice round and release. Oh, feels good. Come back up. Let's release those legs out long in front. Give them a little shake. And we'll come back to a comfortable cross-legged position. Just stretching into our arms here. So let's inhale, open up, coming wide into a T, palms forward. And as we exhale, coming through, bringing the right arm underneath the left, reaching for opposite shoulders, just stretching out into our shoulders. So you can hold on to the opposite shoulders, or you can option to start to spin up those forearms, bringing the backs of the arms towards each other, bringing the backside of the palms together, coming through our eagle arms. Just an option. If it feels like way too much, you hold on to those shoulders. So option to start to spin those hands towards each other, clasping onto the hands, bringing the thumbs together. So if you're in full eagle, thinking about drawing those shoulder blades down the back, lifting up through the elbows, really big stretch into the outside of our shoulders, and through the rhomboids. Feels real good if you are quite tight or sore, but just being mindful to breathe here into the space you're in. And let's exhale, start to unravel if you're holding on to those hands, opening back up into a T, shake out those hands, release everything, release them down for a second, let all the blood flow come back. And then let's inhale, open up again, coming through the other side, so sweeping that left arm underneath the right, reaching for opposite shoulders first. An option to just stay here, or you can start to spin up those forearms, bringing them back to back of the palms together, maybe where you are. If not, option to start to spin those hands towards each other, looping through the fingers. Inhale, lift those elbows. Exhale, draw the shoulder blades down the back. So wherever your hands and arms are, you're still thinking about drawing those blades down the back, lifting up through the elbows. Really big stretch here. I need one more breath. And exhale, sweep those arms back out into a T, give them a shake out, release those hands down to the mat. Sitting back down, settling in. And from here, we're gonna move into our final resting posture, so our Shavasana. So you can feel free to take a seated meditation if you like, or you can recline down onto the mat, letting yourself fall onto the mat, getting comfortable, keeping the palms facing towards the sky. Allowing the eyes to slowly close. Letting your breath come back to its natural rhythm. And just tuning in to yourself here in your final Shavasana. Resting in. Letting yourself just be here, sinking into the mat, taking up as much space as you need, letting the next few moments be yours, being present with yourself. Starting to find some wiggles in the fingers and the toes, just finding some awareness back to your mat, back to the room you're in. Allowing yourself to roll onto one side. And gently pressing yourself up to a seated position whenever you're ready. We'll bring the hands to heart center, gently pressing the thumb into the breastbone. Bowing your head slightly forward and thanking yourself for working so hard and coming to the mat today. Sometimes that can be the hardest part. Thank you so much for being here with me and sharing space. From my heart to yours, namaste. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you like this video, please feel free to share it with anyone who might be needing it. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below to the Charway. And of course, comment below if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much, you guys. Bye.